here. They're ready to go. First team out of Japan. And they want to put the screws to NA. Now, they are in the same group. Obviously, we know that's group stage, of course. Both teams look locked for tomorrow. But now we're going for seeding here. Let's take a look at this group stage.
Yeah, so Group A, Stamina Esports absolutely dominating, going 3-0. Orange Juicers having a tough start to the day on broadcast, but managing to claw their way through to day 2 for North America. Group B, Team EX looking pretty fantastic out of Korea, and Peru Unite having the surprise finish in that group, only going 1-1, but they will move on to day number 2. Revelation will be out of the tournament. Heading to Group C, we just saw this. Kakalak, Talon, Komai. With how this all played out, Komai not beating Talon 2-0 means, unfortunately, even though they won that matchup, their record was the worst record out of the group. Kakalak, Talon are going to move on. Tell me about Group D here.
Well, Nouns Esports with a good run, 2-0, feeling good. Paper Rex, 1-1, of course, losing to Nouns. Version 1 from NA, you're out of here, 0-2. Let's throw some more groups on the board.
Yeah, throw the groups on the board.
Group E, QT Dig out of Japan, 3-0, looking very strong. Santos Laguna 2-1 against SAUL, and You Need Coaching, Unk. They squared off on stage, we got to see that. Group F, Luminosity, Reject, Onyx. So with Onyx at 0-2, Luminosity, Reject here, this is for essentially seeding in Group F. Group G, High Five 3-0-6-0. Did not drop a map today. Insomnia also making it through, despite losing to High Five to kick off our broadcast a mere 42 hours ago. Group H, Aegis Flames 2-0. My call for just like the biggest upset. They were on one, brother. They beat the brakes off Zeta Division. However, Zeta Division able to take care of Onyx Rise, so they are moving forward.
Yeah. Amazing stuff there. I mean, Zeta looked pretty incredible at the start of the day, and then Aegis Flames just able to start picking them apart. We're going to take a look right now at some Zeta Division versus Onyx Rise that was happening on our second stage.
Yeah, we're starting at about the 3-minute 45-second mark here. As Zeta Division and Onyx Rise, we're squaring off. So we're going through this, we're taking a look, and of course, Zeta Division ends up being successful because we just talked.
Yeah, they do. We're taking a little bit of a look here at Vitopo on Dodrio. Dodrio having a great weekend. We saw Gotlu with some huge plays on Dodrio. This feels like a speedster that in the right hands is really, showing up for their teams. Vitopo able to peel away from this, of course. One of the slipperiest Pokemon in the game, really hard to shut this thing down.
To wrinkle in, looking just across the board, some other Pokemon that have had some very successful days today. A lot of Mewtwo Y. I feel like we've seen quite a bit of that. And Clefable with a fresh resurgence because they got a fresh coat of paint.
Charizard also looking pretty great. Ho-Oh in that conversation as well. But there have been a lot of stellar picks. Zarina's had some big moments. Blaziken still looks pretty fantastic. Tons of power picks throughout this tournament. You can see this is something we did not see a lot of. We've got a Petal Dance Venusaur here from Onyx.
Whatever it takes. However, in this moment, I don't think it was enough. But Zeta Division, you can see how well they just stress the map.
Yeah. Right,
doing a good job. And we actually saw that in their match against Aegis Flames, where in that first game, it was just huge. They were they were just bodying them. And then the second game, it was still looking like it was going to trend that way. Great tier 2 push by AF, and they were able to get the Zeraora online, and of course we know that was the key to success at the end.
Yeah, they had that amazing lasso pull in that Clefable. I mean, I feel like that is the match of the day. We might be running into another one here between LG and Reject. Obviously, this is one of those showdowns that we have been waiting for. One of the best out of Japan, one of the best in the world, definitely the best in North America from Luminosity. Pretty incredible. But the Aegis Flames, run in with Zeta, I feel like, is the talk of the day. No question. People thought Brazil could do well in this tournament, but they are poised to get beat up in these groups. I mean, they have the toughest group run out of any region.
Without a doubt.
And Aegis coming in here, especially after that Game 1 loss to Zeta, that did not look particularly close. It felt like, unfortunately, they were going to have a very, very short tournament. And then the comeback was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the Zeraora play was so strong out of mats. Obviously they got the big lasso pull, you mentioned it, which really kicked off the beginning of the end for Zeta Division there in that second game. But it was such a powerful presence that Zeta banned it in game 3. But the reaction that the chain reaction that was caused by that was that, yes, Zeta went back to the Zoroark Comfey. However, this allowed Charizard to go unbanned, which what Zeta Division has been doing is banning Charizard, then picking those two, because it has such a good isolating move on the engage with the Unite move from Charizard. But now it was on the table. Great response by AF. They're able to pick up the Charizard, Suicune as well, set a bunch of traps between the Leafeon and Buzzwole, so they were just playing smart, and they took themselves a convincing Game 3 win.
Yeah, Game 3 was about as one-sided as Game 1, which is kind of crazy for how that series played out. The combination they had with Buzzwole, bringing him up into the air, bringing him right back down to earth into a Leafeon Unite move, Razor Leaf, to just clip them was amazing. Incredible stuff. But now in front of us, we have two legendary teams, the #1 seed out of Japan, the #1 seed in North America.
Let's get into this draft. Charizard banned immediately by reject, and we have a Dodrio. Luminosity doing a little bit of studying, a little homework, getting that thing off the board. Scizor getting banned, and Latios. Let's question mark on Latios. More question mark on Scizor.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the Scizor unless there's something that's been... Look, I don't know what Luminosity's been cooking up in the kitchen. I can't imagine it's Scizor, but that is what has been banned here. As we have our first pick being Suicune, for my money, one of the best Pokemon going in the game right now. A great first pick as we take a look at how Luminosity wants to approach Game 1.
I mean, you have tons of good options, right? You can go Horse, going Trainer, Leafeon, Blissey. There is still Ho-Oh available in here as well. And we've been talking how strong that Pokemon has been the entire day so far.
Wow,
and
U2Y Zarina. So, I mean, this is going to be interesting. I feel like letting Slash have this Ho-Oh so late is wild, but he absolutely could. We also could see Overlord pick it up.
Listen, we're already seeing the ebbs and flows of this tournament.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the day, you wouldn't dream seeing a Ho-Oh off the ban list, and now we have Overlord on Blaziken and Slash on Ho-Oh. Again, a Pokemon he was playing pre-buff. So you take a look at what they're building, and Buzzwole is having a phenomenal day on any team that's picked it up. And they're rounding out with a Clefable, which we just talked about, had a new coat of paint. We're dealing with just some high-octane picks across the board.
These are great picks. I'm very curious to see how this ends up for Luminosity. Yeah, okay, so what we don't really have from Reject is kind of that ranged burst damage. You have a little from Mewtwo. You do have a little from Suicune as well with like crazy disruption, right? But when I look at Reject, if they don't burst them down real fast with the Buzzwole Zarina, I wonder how they're going to finish out some of these fights.
Yeah, you know, Luminosity, on the other hand, there is some decent self-sustain. You know, if you look at Zarina, it's a pretty good scrapper just on its own. Pair that with a Clefable, and we saw it be the key to success in previous games today where they just went truck and trailer and they were just ripping through the opposing squad. So Luminosity, no strangers to dealing and contending against these Pokemon, but that doesn't mean they're not going to have to play smart. Now, Alolan Raichu has only been played by 2 other teams today, and Luminosity, when they're gutter picking this type of stuff, it means that they're onto something, but kudos to the other teams that are seeing it because they're onto something as well.
You know, I think seeing the curse items on the side of Luminosity is also a great call into this Clefable here. The healing is incredible, but if we are reducing that considerably with those 2 curse items, Raichu had a curse item, Ho-Oh had a curse item, that could be huge for LG here. I wonder how this is going to fare because you're right. The sustain is really incredible, and they have so much annoying stun, right? They have the Buzzwole, they have the Suicune together that can create these incredible combos. If Zarina is able to get multiple Queenly Majesty resets and just sustain their way through an entire fight, it could definitely take LG down. As we have a pause on the big stage, making sure that everyone is able to connect to this game.
I'm probably going to be proven wrong immediately, as tends to happen with the Caster Curse. But typically when Otter is on the Blissey, it's Safeguard Helping Hand. And when Slash is on the Blissey, it can go either way, but usually ends up being the egg set. So, you know, a way to deal with some of that CC, maybe forecasting into the future a little bit, is that early Blissey pick, because if they see something different develop, they can always put Slash on the Blissey, right, and kind of change the role that it's going to play in this moment. But I see Otter holding on to it all the things that you just called out that are kind of just obnoxious to have to contend with, that Reject is bringing to the table, leads me to believe that we might just see Safeguard Helping Hand. And like I said, as soon as this game's fired up, I'll be proven wrong immediately.
Yeah, that's how it goes. The caster curse is undefeated. But I'm with you. I think Safeguard is a great call here. Also, when you look at the item loadout that we saw on Otter, it had leftovers, which leads me to believe they don't have soft boiled. When you run leftovers, it's because you don't have any way to heal in your kit, and you're just able to kind of like peel away from the fight, use Safeguard Helping Hand, technically not engage in a new fight, so your leftovers is already triggering when you're actually actively participating. You're just not taking or receiving any damage from an enemy Pokemon or wild Pokemon. So I'm thinking you're right. I think you nailed it. We're seeing Safeguard Helping Hand right here.
You know what you just did? You just made yourself also be wrong here.
I know. Isn't that fun? It's fun how that works, right?
It's amazing. It's amazing that they choose us to do this and be here and always be wrong. Here we go. Say the thing.
All right. Reject your purple team. Luminosity, your orange team. This is going to be your final best of 3 here in day 1. Japan versus North America to end us out.
Here we go. Early quick pressure. Curios off and flexing into these random picks throughout the board, doing whatever the team needs here, and Slash on a very comfortable pick as we see Otter immediately going crosstown shootout, and they're going to try and stress the resources of old Reject.
Yeah, not able to secure that, but you don't get punished that hard for a play like this. Leftovers is about to trigger right there, and you can see the HP recovery already from Otter. Trying to get away. Nice move right there.
Just hilarious seeing these two scrap.
Yeah, as Pavone is trying to push them back and get them away from this. Leftovers triggering once again for Otter, and they're continuing this, looking for the KO, but not able to get it. Wow.
Otter getting out just feels like icing on the cake right here for them. They're able to disrupt, slow things down, keep Pavone on the chase, and now we've got a little bit of pressure. Slash is there, Pee-wee rolls up, full HP, gonna try to A-press down this LG squad. Satake on the backside, quickly putting the stomps down on those birds, getting a split of the experience between these teams. It was kind of a 4v3, but Reject not too afraid of that.
Yeah, it actually looked like it went pretty well for Reject. You see the Buzzwole doing pretty well. Already level 5 here in the top end and scoring 30, getting a level 6 now. Really nice stuff for Reject. LG behind on the scoreboard. Mewtwo Y putting some pressure on right there. We do have the Alolan Raichu online.
Nice quick evolution there out of the Alolan Raichu. Some things that teams that haven't been able to get online had issues with was getting it online there. And of course, we're going to be not laying landmines with this Raichu. We're going to be trying to A-press this Reject team.
Yeah, I mean, with this curse item on there, I think they're just hoping that these boosted attacks are chaining through the entirety of Reject as they're hanging around that Clefable, right?
Tons of damage on Slash there, and they're able to just fly out of danger. Overlord's waiting for a poach, can't quite nab the Suicune Tamarine, and now the rest of the team just has to kind of snap their fingers, say, dang it, we'll get him next time.
Yeah, and we see Trainer here in a lot of trouble. I mean, being out-leveled considerably in this top path, peeling away. And they actually lose that top path goal zone quite early as Luminosity is scoring the bottom path. And they caught them there. They found out where they were heading home in the tall grass and got a big-time KO. Slash in trouble, decides to break this goal zone here. They need to continue stacking to get this Ho-Oh online, but that's a double KO for Reject.
LG fans got to be concerned a little bit. They expended a lot of resource to try and get an advantage in the bottom path, and yes, they're able to close that goal zone, but I mean, Reject has been holding it down pretty well despite being outnumbered and doing tons of work up top. Now we're just trying to A-press. We now just saw the Blissey Safeguard Helping Hand, of course, and they have to fight from their own pad here as now it's the personnel advantage for Reject.
Yeah, things are working pretty well for Reject here. The Ho-Oh moving in, actually trying to cause a lot of static. Huge flamethrower, catching multiple members of Reject here. And now they're in great position for this bottom Reggie.
They absolutely bullied Reject out. Satake up top as this Zarina is going to be able to take Reggie Alecki for free. Luminosity, we have to see how they'll pivot. Are they willing to defend? Yes. Trainer goes back early. They're going to shred up top, and so is Overlord. Are they going to leave somebody downstairs to babysit? Slash might be on those duties. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look at the level swing here. Zarina at level 10 right now. Luminosity getting cooked level-wise, seeing if they can catch them right there. Barely not getting that hit from the overheat as Zarina is trying to cause some problems here in the top path.
There you go. You have the safeguard on the Zarina Unite right on Kyrios, and they're knocked out instantly. Or excuse me. right on Otter and knocked out instantly there. Good use, and they can't get this Zarina. It's just too big, and it's moving too quick.
And now they're heading to the bottom path right here. Another nice score, 198 to 82. Luminosity behind on the scoreboard. But where it really counts, Dupe Snacks, it is this level advantage that they have for Reject. 2 levels higher on the Zarina, 1 level higher on the Buzzwole here.
Not to jinx old LG, but when it's when it's Overlord, Slash, and Kyrios on the world stage, those 3 players specifically forming this LG team, they have not lost a set at Worlds. Think year 1, think year 2, and now they're trying to make it year 4.
This is going to be pretty incredible for them if they can pull this off. But I got to say, Reject is putting them through the paces here. The first half of game number 1. They're coming online now, though. They have their levels. They're getting there. They're still behind Reject. They're behind on the scoreboard, but they're not out by any means. You know, about 50 points separate these teams and a few levels.
I mean, the levels are actually pretty close, too.
Yes.
So, I mean, one good fight and all of that just kind of goes out the window. We're back at parity, and it looks like that's what both teams are squaring up for. I think Reject senses that they have just a slight advantage. We'll see if they use it.
Yeah, Haruto looking for a play right here. Moving forward, grabs Trainer. Knew they were in the bush. Trainer right up in the sky.
Emerald 2-step right back away, gets the KO, and Zarina goes down instantly. Slash with great pressure up front, splits Pavone from all of those attackers, and now Regice is getting shredded. And you want to talk about that experience lead, it's just gone. And now it's in the hands of Luminosity. Yes, Zarina's level 12, but Luminosity's still motoring forward. Slash might get KO'd here, but no, they get out because of the safeguard helping hand. Well done, LG, not stressing too much.
Yeah, I mean, LG played that fight beautifully, even though there was a beautiful catch there from the Buzzwole, actually noticing Trainer in the tall grass, moving forward. Luminosity pivoted on that fight, counter-punched extremely well. Now they're, pushing towards the top goal zone. Buzzwole moving in once again. Huge Unite move gets the KO on Leafeon.
And now we have to pivot back. Slash really trying to burn down and push some stress. Nice revive there from the Ho-Oh. That's what you wanted for, and that's enough to get 2 KOs back. Pavone is absolutely getting beat down. They're the next one on the chopping block, and they try to follow me back to pad, and it's not good. Tamarine is peeling back as well, but now these points are going to start going in. The Suicune has to retreat, and it's just the Mewtwo-Y stepping up, but it's not enough for the Legendary to do so.
Look at this, 198-203. Some great scoring there from Luminosity. Gets them ahead. They're going to try to out-secure this, and they do. Tamarine's going to have to peel back right here. Overlord looking to move forward and ego them a bit. Otter peels them back a bit with the safeguard, with 5 members of Reject are showing some real pressure towards the side of Luminosity.
Otter backs, leaving Overlord alone, but just Pavone stepping forward as the Clefable is not enough, so they have to retreat as well. Meanwhile, you see Slash kind of work in the bottom left corner of your map as Regieleki's going in, and they're trying to get some vision where Reject is, see if they can find any value.
You know, the pendulum of this match really is swinging back in the way of Luminosity. They were absolutely, they were close at the very start of this match, and then Reject took an early lead, early level lead, put a lot of pressure on, way up on the scoreboard, but look at Luminosity here. Level-wise, they are now ahead by a considerable margin on a few Pokemon. 14 on the Blaziken, and we've only got 3 level 12s for Reject.
Yeah, however, at least they've kept the score line close, and that's something these top teams do. Slash still staying up front, and the firepower is there. 2 steps quickly moving forward. Buzzwole down. Mewtwo-Y is trying to shell in as much of this psychic energy as they can, but it's not enough. Regice is taken by Blaziken. Overlord Overheat always hits, baby, and they're still trying to put the pressure on, but it's not enough by Reject. They can only lay in chip shots, and I don't think LG's feeling any of them.
You know, this is something I talked about right at the start of this draft. I was wondering how Reject was going to finish some of these fights. I was wondering if they had enough damage to take down Luminosity. It feels like in some of these moments they do not. We see Trainer trying to get their Unite move back online. We have 5 seconds until Ray hits the map. LG in a good position here, but not too many points separate these 2 teams. Buzzwole chipping it. They move right in. No, they're going to peel back here. Zarina deciding to move in and fight, and they're not stopping.
No, their pressure is on, and now it's Overlord catching an Overheat, and they're trying to put it onto somebody. Follow Me is there. Mewtwo-Y Unite pop. Suicune's on the backside. Big Unite chips a couple, but doesn't get anybody down. The Bliss Assistance just in time to save Overlord, and now it's just the Buzzwole that's down and matched by Otter on the side of LG. How is Luminosity going to recover?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Even though Luminosity has someone down, they still have a Ho-Oh Unite move, which they actually used to bring back Blissey, and now they're going to push towards this fight with Buzzwole down. Leafeon moving through the top here. We have a lot of pressure from the Ho-Oh, and they're looking to win this.
Follow Me is there. We still have Serena Unite. They go into the back line. They catch the Ho-Oh. Is that the right target? That's a big question mark. Satake is trying to keep it going for the team. Low HP is Luminosity. Straight into the back line. Satake keeps the pressure on. Overlord's looking for an overheat, and they don't see anybody. They're peeling back, and everybody's taking another deep breath.
Yeah, and here we go. It actually looks like Reject is turning onto Ray right now. They're trying to peel Luminosity in.
Whoa!
Huge play. Blissey goes down. 4 members of Reject onto Rayquaza. We have Leafeon in the top path. Blaziken coming from the bottom.
We're looking for a backdoorish trainer on this Leafeon. Tons of pressure on his Pee-wee is trying to put the pressure on the Rayquaza. They find another target. There's just 2 players left standing. The Ho-Oh, the Leafeon. Is that enough? Reject is down by 5. We got some back cap action, and that is going to give them the lead. What is the recovery from Luminosity going to look like? We have 30 seconds left, and Reject continues to score.
Beautiful stuff from Reject. They were able to win enough of a fight that they could put pressure on those goal zones with only 20 seconds left, and Trainer in a horrible position. It looks like Reject is going to take this game through scoring, winning a Ray fight, but it was a war of attrition between these 2 squads. No one landed that knockout blow, but Reject able to peel away, put points on the board, and take game number 1.
What a well-crafted fight by Reject. And both teams were kind of clashing and then bouncing back, clashing and bouncing back. But I think for me was the call to use the revive there on the Blissey.
Yeah.
And